Let's have a look now at the Express, and people are arguing for a Swiss-style EU deal, which is making many Brexiteers want to call Dignitas. Nick.
Indeed, yeah, they've gone with fury, absurd idea to go soft on Brexit, and this is the Hunt Swiss Brexit that's sort of being mooted now, or parts of the Tory party saying, no, it's not being mooted. Steve Barclay's been out to say, no, none of this is actually happening. Sunak says it's not really happening. But, of course, people are concerned. Hunt's already started talking about why immigration's necessary. And, of course, people are worried Brexiteers are worried they're going to edge us gradually back into Europe. Our very own Nigel Farage has even said the Tories need to be crushed off the back of this. They're talking about frictionless trade, which in itself sounds all right?
Yeah.
Frictionless sounds good in most endeavours.
Yeah.
You're like, OK, that sounds all right. But, of course, what it will probably mean is paying more in. It will mean the ECHR having more influence. It will mean more immigration. And that's where people start to go, hang on, this is not what we voted for.
If it was the case, we'd be there now, wouldn't we? At the end of the day, right? True. No matter what happened, we left. We Brexited. And I think this is just very much of the moment, because what we're seeing now is this perfect storm of crisis after crisis after crisis, of which can all be impacted by Brexit amongst a whole raft of other things. And it's an opportunity now to look at Brexit again and say, well, what can we do differently? Well, you know what we can do differently is we can just stand by our guns, I think, and see this through, because these storms... I mean, there's a crisis every other day, so there'll be a new crisis soon that maybe won't be impacted by Brexit. Brexit hasn't been given a chance yet. I don't think it's been given an opportunity. I didn't vote for Brexit, but it's here, and I'm quite glad that we stuck with the vote. It was a democratic vote. We're not going to go over that again. I'm quite glad we stuck with it, and we've got to see it through now. It's the only way we're going to figure out if we can make it work for us.
I wish you were the Minister for Brexit Opportunities, because, I mean, I almost, it's difficult because of the big desk, but I'd like to hug you now. Oh. And I also voted Remain, and I think we've got that in common, where I accepted the result and I anticipated that if we reversed Brexit, there would be a democratic crisis, probably a constitutional crisis, and disorder on the streets. I think it could literally have destroyed the country. And thank God it's been seen through. And the whole point, right, I don't know about you, but when I voted Remain, I just thought, well, there's arguments for Brexit, there's arguments for Remain. It was marginal for me, and I went for Remain. And that means that Brexit can be a success. The worst thing we can do is limp on with this debate for the next 10 years.
Absolutely. It will paralyse our political system, as it did in 2019. Yeah. And look what happened then. Right now, there are lots of polls at the moment that say things like 65% of people who voted Brexit wouldn't vote Brexit now. It's because of the way the questions are framed and the context in which the questions are asked.
A lot of women would like not marry their husbands now. Doesn't mean they're going to have a divorce. I'm sure Mrs. Dogan would think twice. I mean, almost everything's rubbish once you get into it.
Exactly. So, but I don't think we've actually given it a fair crack at the whip yet, Nick.
Exactly. But are we going to even be allowed to have Brexit? Because the blob isn't going to let us have anything. The markets, the blob, whoever it is, we weren't allowed...
What is the blob?
Well, that's the question. What is the blob? Is it the Treasury? Is it the Civil Service? Is it the Bank of England? It's sort of all of it, isn't it?
Are you on the blob?
Is it...
Have you got a service?
I'm nothing to do with the blob. I'm anti-blob. Because
Are you a person with periods?
We weren't allowed... no, I'm the worst thing, Mark. I'm a straight, white, Christian, heterosexual male. I mean, I'm basically...
How the hell did you get on telly?
I know, we're only on GB, but here's the thing, Mark. The blob is not going to let us have a proper Brexit. They're not going to let us have Liz Truss.
The establishment is really what you mean.
They won't let us have low taxes. They won't let us have growth. We can't actually enact any policy. This is why the Tory party has to be destroyed, I'm now on that level where I'm thinking it has to go, because... And I'm even thinking we might even need proportional representation, which I don't even think is a good system. But we have to do something to tell these politicians that we are protesting against the fact that we have two parties who are both green socialist parties who don't even enact the policies that people want in this country.
And what do you think we'd get?
I sound like I'm running there, didn't I? And I'd like to announce I'm running for Reform UK.
What you've got to do is you've got to say a lot of people are going to be very happy with my announcement.
Very happy. I'm not going to say what it is. With tremendous numbers, people are going to be very happy.
If we had a proportional system, what do you think the outcome would be?
Chaos, because look at Italy, you've got 19 parliamentary parties, but what you would have is you'd at least have that people like Reform represented. Oh. But the danger is, of course, you'd have a coalition. What is it? A coalition of chaos.
It wasn't loaded, actually.
Lib Dems and Labour and the SNP and so on.
But what do you end up with? You end up with just more division. Because if you look at the Conservative Party now, one of the reasons this is a topic again today is because the Conservative Party is split. We've now got at the top of the Conservative Party some pretty strong Ramonas. I think Hunt was
absolutely hardcore
he's the
Remainer.
ultra Remainer, yeah.
The Euro Remainer.
So I don't think it's a surprise that we're having this is the rhetoric right now. And when we get next week's Prime Minister, it might change again. But I think it's all about the moment. I think everything we do at the moment is about the moment. We never look at how we arrived there. We never look at where we might be in 3 steps' time or 1,000 steps' time. It's all about what do you think right now? If you'd asked me about car travel 3 hours ago, I would have said I'm never travelling in the car again.
Although
it took me forever to get here.
The Tories have had 12 years, and there was a great piece from Dominic Sandbrook on this today. What have the Tories done in 12 years? They've given us the migrant crisis, wokery, high taxes, and that's why I say they've got to go, because they've had 12 years, and I am coming across to that opinion.
Briefly, Nick, whisper it. Brexit could be a success, particularly given that the EU faces a sovereign debt crisis within the Eurozone and huge problems within individual nations that aren't happy with their membership of the bloc. I think many Remainers look over to the EU and think the grass is greener. I'm not sure it is.
No, and they've also got the energy price problem now as well. And as Barclay pointed out, we were able to do the vaccine rollout because we were in the EU. Whatever you think to the vaccine, I don't like it. But we're
quick on Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly. We were able to do these things. And like you say, many countries might follow, but the question is, they're following our lead and they're finding out how painful it is the problem.
Speaking of painful, it was interesting. Paul there said that people don't like friction or friction's a bad thing. I would say, Paul, don't knock it till you've tried it.